convinced more people are going to join us, but we're going to start with where we're at right now because we have 3 amazing people on this call so far. And I wanted to just go through a little bit of a sort of an agenda, just a plan for this short meeting. We're not going to go long here today because we're all too hot and too tired to do that. I wanted to start by debriefing about the June 24th event, and we're recording this, and so we get, I think we're recording, we're at least live streaming it so that we can get more input than the people that actually are in the room so far. But we're going to debrief about that, about what we liked, about what we need to do better. And then I also wanted to really focus on our summer plans for the nonprofit organization this summer. Town halls like this one, but also county fairs, and then other ideas that people have for getting the word out. So I was going to describe the event for people that weren't there. We were all there, so I can skip paragraph A completely. What were your favorite things about the event? What did you guys like the best?
I loved how the people talked, and they had the opportunity to go to different stations to pick up different, I don't know, I wouldn't call them skills, ideas.
Yeah, lots of education and awareness going on at the individual tables. That was one of my favorite things as well. And I had like at least twice as much, if not 3 times as much material I was going to give from the stage. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these great connections being made. And I'm like, Betsy, don't be stupid. Get off the stage and let people talk. And I had to modify a little bit because part of our audience was pretty young kids. So I framed this idea of the Dobbs decision and Roe v. Wade being overturned as your right to what happens to your own body, because kids get stranger danger and nobody touches your privates. They get that. And so putting it in that perspective for these kids, and I know for a fact that sunk in. And here's how I know. One of my other favorite things was Julie's beautiful quilt that went up for the raffle. And the family that won the quilt, I met them at Starbucks the next afternoon because, of course, I did. It's like they go to Church of the Resurrection in Leawood, and like it's the Starbucks that's like across the street from there, which is also one of my places to go. So their older kid ran up to me, and he said, "What you're doing is so important. I love it so much because we all need to have our bodies' rights." And I was like, yay, this kid gets it. And so that told me that the little that I did say from the stage came across. Our younger little friend, Millie, she just can't stop talking about the mermaid. But
that made an impact, so that's good.
Clearly her favorite part. But you know what I also loved is that some of the adults that were there came and popped a squat or sat on a chair, sat on a little mat, and they were also listening in on the stories. And so just that willingness to be all in and participate in everything the event had to offer, I thought was fabulous. I loved it.
What do you say, Hazel?
Okay, I pressed it. Yeah, I like the intimacy of it to be able to engage with different people. Betsy said it, making connections. That's always my go-to. I'm very social, but having a smaller scale to build those connections, I like. I don't know what Angie's group is with the books.
Yeah, that's the Kansas chapter of the National Education Association, the KNEA.
I was at so why I was late, I was at my diversity committee play date, and if I would have had those two flipped, I would have taken a bunch of books and given them away at the diversity play date. So I was like, oh, this This is like 2 or 3 hours late. For me, just me personally, because it's all
Right.
about me. But no, I like the the connections being built, and the venue, like the venue. I'll save the other part of the venue, the comment. It's very difficult to find, but once I got there, it was a good setup and a good flow. But I saw more of Johnson County Community College than I've ever seen before trying to find it.
Well, a lesson learned was this lovely family that won the quilt. They found us by just looking on Facebook for events near me, what to do on a Saturday. They were just looking for some place to go. And our original event, the one that had kind of the rainbow image on it, said Johnson County Community College, gave the address, but didn't say Rainier Building, didn't say the conference center. So you are not alone in not being able to find it. But I also, even though I knew I was going to the Rainier Building, there's 2 different entrances to JCCC, and I went into the one off College instead of, the one off College instead of the one off Quivira. So if you went in from the Quivira side, if you happen to go that way, there's the Rainier Building, big as life in front of you. But I drove all over before I found it. So I was really glad I came early.
Yeah, I came in on Quivira, drove to the side I know, and then walked through the building and walked through the campus to get there. And I'm like I was literally right there. But that's not.
It's not insurmountable.
That'll
but
happen.
It's something we can do better, is make certain that we have more explicit directions for how to get to the event. So that's an easy fix.
Right. But I think once I got, even when I was in the building, I was like confused. But yeah, the flow, intimacy. I mean, I did like having food there.
Yes. I'm a Greek mom, and I am all about feeding people. Gotta feed the people. So, I mean, we had food for 50 people and we had more like 25 people, but it's still, I loved having enough food for everybody and not feeling like anybody was shorted. And my son-in-law got his gluten-free brownies, and, because he can't do gluten. So I thought they did a nice job with the catering. So I thought that was good. I think JCCC themselves, I loved that they had the IT audiovisual person there to help us set up. And I loved the other touch point person who, when we first were gonna talk about renting this space, the name of this event was Life After Roe. And then it morphed to the 802 Fair as it became more than just talking about Roe v. Wade. And so that person on the spot pivoted and made new signs that said the 802 Fair, so people would know where they were going. So I thought they were very accommodating. I haven't gotten their bill yet. That'll be fun, but that's okay. It was a good venue and it's a good location. I still think it would have been great to have an outdoor event, because I love the Juneteenth thing at the park. I envisioned initially something a lot like that, but of course you have to have your rain out option, which, we did it in a park, and did it under, Franklin Park's my go-to for this idea. I don't know that it's where we'd end up, but it's because they've got a nice big pavilion. And so you could move your event under the roof if you needed to. And there's a playground right there, and it's like on a busy street, so people could see it, and you have your sign out on Somerset Drive or on Row, and people can come on in. So having it outdoor in a very public place, I think, would make a difference in people attending. Because that's my next thing, is the elephant in the room, which was attendance. The way this event was publicized was through Facebook event shares, word of mouth. Eventually, we got an ad. Julie can speak to the saga of doing ads on Facebook and how difficult that was to make happen.
Yeah, because it's a social issue, you have to like verify your identity and swear that you're not going to do this and have a statement at the bottom saying who's supporting it or paying for it. And that was just, I mean, to me, because I've never done that before, it was overwhelming to jump through their hoops. But once we jumped through their hoops, it was pretty instantaneous that we were able to do ads.
So one thing we might
Mhm.
consider is for next month's town hall, maybe taking out an ad for the town hall. Because we'll still have a waiting room and we can still decide who gets in and who doesn't. You know, if we got anybody trolling us, which actually did happen, Hazel, when we were, before we became the 802 United, when we were still the Vote No group. And we were doing a town hall about the countering the misinformation from the Value Them Both people. We had some trolls that were chiming in, and they were
Mhm.
asking nonsense questions and just interrupting. And I'm like, mute, mute. We eventually, our mods booted them out, and it was fine. So
Mhm.
ads was a thing I think would work better. Part of our issue is that a lot of people were on the Vote No Kansas page, the Vote No Northeast Johnson County page or Northeast Kansas page that turned into the 802 United. But that page that's now become the Kansas Voters Bulletin Board, not everybody has come over to the 802 United page. And we've been looking for whether we can do a group invite, and that's not something that we're able to do. So I think I might have to personally friend all the people that are on that other page and personally invite them, like from my Betsy Wickstrom page. Because I don't think I can, maybe I can friend individuals from the 802 page. I'll look into that.
Well, we can message them, I'm sure of that.
So that might be a thought, and just
Yeah.
have a canned message that says, hey, you know, you were very active on the 802 page, and we do still want to have you as part of our 802 United family. Consider going ahead and following this
Yeah.
page, and message us about any suggestions, blah, blah, blah. So we'll come up with a canned message about that, and then we can try to connect with all those individuals.
Mhm. Let's say one thing on that though too. June's very heavy, and so I mean, I'm trans, not huge into Pride. I feel like Pride's a little misguided in some ways, but June's very heavy.
Yeah.
So even
So,
you know,
I would love to think about a different date. I mean, this one was all about the 1-year anniversary of Roe v. Wade, and that's why it was on June 24th, but it does not have to be. I don't know if it's better or worse to have it during people's summer break. Like, is July better? Is July beastly hot and no one wants to go to an outdoor event? Is early August even worse? I don't know. I don't know what's the best date, because May is all about all the graduations and all the end of year stuff. But it's possible that July would be better timing, and we center it around the idea of independence. You know, I'm super sad as a lifetime Girl Scout that the regressive party has co-opted the American flag, because I got that flag handling badge. Yes, I did. And it's sad to me. You know, I don't stand during the national anthem. I haven't for a year, since June 24th last year. I will not honor a government that won't honor my rights. Won't. But I still think July 4th is worth celebrating. It's just that we sort of need to reclaim it. So we can think about that. I'll put that down as one idea, is maybe a July.
It's not a definite. It's just I mean, I had 4 things that day. But I'm very active. So but just so it's not necessarily, you know, my issues aren't the same as everyone's, but I just know
But Alice Edwards, who was there, who is active in a lot of groups as well. And also she's one of the people that specifically gave me her email address so that I can reach, and I have already done this, reach out to her to get some contact information for some like-minded groups, because that's one of the ways I think will help us build this. And, you know, Emily Walters, who I was hoping would come tonight, she's in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh, Kansas did a June 24th event as well. And when I was lamenting that we totally had a fabulous event, we just didn't have the attendance I wanted, she said, stop it. This was your first time to do this. It's a place to start. Don't be sad, just move on and build on this. So in my section over here, you can't see my agenda, it's over here. Is there a way to do better? Running ads, yes. Making sure the event gives better directions, yes. But what other groups can we partner with to cross post? Like tomorrow's rally is all over the state. The one in Overland Park is being sponsored by Equality Kansas, Mainstream Coalition, Loud Light. I got a text from Moms Demand Action. Everybody's in on this event. And so everybody is inviting their constituency and saying, show up and support. So
I don't know if you saw, I'm speaking in Overland Park.
I know I'll see
so
you
I
there.
know, yeah, I know most of the groups. I mean, I'm connected a little bit to Loud Light, but I'm connected to the other two. And then I did get the text message, and I replied, "I'm speaking there," so I'll be there. But yeah, I would say that when one of the ways to do it is one of the ways to get names out is to connect to a group that's already doing something, and literally show up and say, "Hi, we're 802."
Like
That's what
Miles and I
like,
did at Juneteenth, because obviously I was trying to get Stand Up Black Lives representative there, but man, short notice, because they didn't get my other email because I didn't have it correct. If we do this again next year, which I intend to, I want us to have an in-person fair again. I think it's a really neat opportunity to connect people. I will be connecting with Stand Up Black Lives again much sooner to see if they want to have something there. And some other people that I met at that Juneteenth celebration were the Bliss Books and Wine folks talking about banned books. And there's a nursing sorority that also had a little booth, a little tent there at Juneteenth. So just showing up, heck, that's how I met you. And just go and introduce yourself and say, this is what our organization does. And we think that we could have some synergy, and tell us about events that you're having. We'll tell you about events that we're having. Let's move forward. Because the whole point of this group is not necessarily to run more events. I'm thinking we have these online things once a month. We have an in-person once annual fair. And then the rest of the time, we're all about promoting other people's events and lifting other people's voices. That's what we're supposed to be about. So the more groups we can think of, the more groups that seem to make sense to coordinate with, the better. So all those people that are sponsoring tomorrow's event, I need to make sure we're all connected with all of them. Yeah.
Saturday.
Oh, shoot, I keep saying tomorrow. It is Saturday at 11 a.m. Yes.
There is an
a.m.
event tomorrow by a different group, but if you find me, which I'm not hard to find, I'll introduce you to everyone who's there. I don't know who's all going to be there, other than I know Equality Kansas and Mainstream is going to be there. I don't know if Loud Light's out of Topeka, so
They might go to the
or
Topeka
Wichita
event. Yeah.
So yeah, they may not be in Overland Park, but I already know Equality Kansas and Mainstream will be there. I mean, I know everybody. So if you want to hang out, I will introduce you to people.
Definitely. That'll be great. And I'll just, Julie, you know what we need? We need business cards
Yes, we do. I was just thinking that.
because I need to be able to hand
One
people.
thing, one thing I do for a different group that I'm in is, do you know how to create QR codes?
Yes.
I just have QR codes in my picture. Like in my picture, so I just click on a picture and someone scans it and goes to it. So
Oh.
you do a QR code to the Facebook invite or the Facebook page.
Right. And then
They
you just pull
scan
it up
it,
on
they
your
go
phone
there.
and they scan it from their phone on your phone as a picture.
Yep.
So are you,
Yes.
Hazel, are you
And
saying
then-
you have that on your business cards, or you said a picture?
No, I have it on my phone. So like I do a blog, and so I'm like,
Okay.
oh, I do a blog, and so I pull up the picture. Or I mean, you create it in like seconds. I mean, it's actually very, very easy on an iPhone at least. And so I can create it, and then I can walk up to Betsy and say, here's my website. She scans it, and she goes to my website. So there's nothing, I don't do paper. So it like, but if you were gonna do one, you could do one QR code. But yeah, it's, instead of saying, oh, go to this website, type this in, it's QR code, and it pulls up on their phone. And if you
And they
click,
go
if you're on the
directly to it.
page where they could just click it,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
you,
great idea.
So, I
yeah,
mean,
it's,
Julie can make a QR code. We know that because she made the one for scan this QR code to check your voter registration. That was all Julie. So I don't know where she is on your screen, but she's there on my screen. Hey, George. So we started out with kind of what were our favorite things about the event, and then we're on what can we do better? How can we get connected with additional groups? Because the main purpose of the 802 United is to sort of be a hub, a clearinghouse, amplifying other voices. As far as our events, I want to do this fair every year. To bring all of our sort of 8 truths together that we talked about at the very onset of our nonprofit. I want to do a town hall like this every month, but I obviously want it to grow. And we talked about making the event for the town hall and making it an ad and making that more public so we can get more people to come and participate in this particular part of what we're doing. And then Hazel is offering, because on Saturday at 11 a.m., there are events all across the city for trans rights and speaking out against SB 180, which is a pile of steaming garbage. And so Hazel's going to introduce me to different groups that are for sure going to be there because I want to connect with them. And what we were just saying is, if Julie makes me a QR code, I can have as a photo on my phone, and rather than printing business cards, you just say, here's our QR code, and that takes them directly to the Facebook page. So that's the plan for Saturday at 11 a.m. I want to, because we were only supposed to go till 7:30, but we got started a little late. I want to talk for a second about these town halls, which we obviously need to publicize more because a few people say they're coming. Maybe they come, maybe they don't. But we'll do that with ads. But I want to talk about some upcoming guests. And Julie, you had an idea just at the beginning of our conversation about something we should be talking about at our July town hall meeting.
We need to be talking about Senate Bill 180 and how that impacts, how that came about, and then how that impacts our transgender community. Very, very negatively, in my opinion. What the Attorney General has said we're going to do.
Oh my God, his opinion, which was just that, it's an opinion. Get over yourself. So Hazel, you'd be an awesome guest at our next town hall as the featured speaker. The other thing we've talked about is getting someone from the Kansas Reflector to come and be part of a conversation about the 2023 legislative session in general and how they fly stuff under the radar that gets made into law and how that whole process works, because people don't really get that. So we could probably do like a full hour town hall, maybe starting out with the Kansas Reflector person, if we can get someone to come on. And Hazel will try to make it for a date that you're not actually out at a, rally or something,
Right.
and then make the second half focusing on SB 180. What do you guys think of that?
We have the lady from Leavenworth that's going to be on in July also. So what I would suggest is that we have her talk for about 30 minutes, and then we'll have Hazel go, and then we'll have
We'll
the
do Kansas
reflector
Reflector another time.
in
Yeah,
August, and I can contact them.
because her Courtney Ricard, her daughter, you know how kids love to make images of rainbows because you get to use every crayon in the box and it's colorful and it's beautiful. So they had some art projects hanging up on the wall in the classroom for their open house. And some Kansas legislator walked through and said, oh, this is indoctrination in the school, and called out this kid for drawing a rainbow. So it really does kind of fit in with how our legislators view their role, our roles, and what the heck are they doing stomping on trans rights. And then that dovetails right into LGBTQ rights in general, specifically SB 180. So I do think that'd be a good combo. So Hazel, if you would let us know your available dates at around this time of the evening, this seems to work for a lot of people. Not that you can tell from who's here right now, but generally speaking, people are available after dinner hour before they have to put their kids to bed is kind of what we're aiming for here. Give us some
I haven't
dates.
had dinner, so I was waiting for another sandwich.
You know what? I try to feed you when I can. And when we're having duck and it's in the smoker and it wasn't up to 160 degrees yet. So I came in here to do this, and I'll be having duck after this.
But I will, are you thinking, what day is today? Thursday?
It's a Thursday.
That's
yeah,
my life
so
right now. Are you thinking Thursdays, or does it matter? I don't know.
you give us dates and we'll work around that. Starting in July,
okay,
I'll
I'm
have
pulling
my
up my
dance class
calendar.
back on Tuesday night. So Tuesday won't be as good for me because I couldn't do it
Okay,
till
let me
after 8. But you give us dates and we'll figure it out.
Okay. So the week of 11 through the 15 is very busy for me already. I'm already like scheduling 2 weeks out, which is crazy. But the next week is that Thursday is not good. But the following week, so the 17th, 18th, 19th are good, and then the following week after that. Sorry, do I need to repeat that? I kind
No,
of
I
did
got
that
it.
strangely.
So maybe if we were going to do a Thursday, that would be the 20. Nope, that's June, Betsy. Go to July. Pay attention. All right. So the 17th, 18th, 19th does work for you. That time. Does the 20th work? Oh, wait, no, I have a meeting. Oh, no, but that's an early meeting on the 20th.
The 20th, I have to be somewhere, so I would not be able to do 7 o'clock. And then if I couldn't do 8, but so the only day that week doesn't work is the 20th.
That's
and then
fine.
the next week, the 27th works, or before, like, really, I mean, weekday, right? So the weekdays, the only day that doesn't work, the 2-week block, is the 20th at this point.
Okay, great.
I'm like saying
So
that, and I'm like, I'm
we're
hoping
going to
I shouldn't say
offer,
anything.
no, I totally get what you're saying. We're going to offer those dates to Courtney and see what works for her.
And there's a lot happening with SB 180. So, which, I mean, obviously I stay up to speed because it's already, something happened this afternoon where Laura Kelly said, what the Attorney General said was BS, in that they're not going to do it. And that's as of like 3:45. So, we'll see. But the bathroom bill part of it is gone. I'm assuming it'll be in court. So there might be new stuff happening.
Yeah, I'm most concerned about the driver's licenses. I think that's insane. All right, but that's a topic for July. We will get into that. Other guests we've talked about are, there's an educator of the year who's just an excellent speaker that can talk about the impact of some of these bills on public education. And so we're thinking about him maybe in August, because that's sort of back to school time. And then we'll just see, if you guys think of other people that you think, and we'll do the Kansas Reflector people at some time. When does the legislature start back up again?
January.
Okay, good. So we've got some
Yeah,
time before we have to really ramp up to that. All right. So keep thinking about other town hall people for September, October, November, blah, blah, blah. But I do want to touch on, before we close, I do want to touch on county fairs. Something that was very successful for us when we were vote no on August 2nd was showing up at the Wyandotte County Fair and just talking to people, just conversations on the sidewalk with people. And I would very much like the 802 United to have a booth at our county fairs. And the week that I just happen to have a staycation planned happens to be the week of the Johnson County Fair. If you know anything about me, you would know that I don't believe in coincidences. I absolutely believe that was intentional by the universe, that I didn't know when the Johnson County Fair was when I insisted on having that week off, had no idea. Does anyone know any more about the fair than I do, about whether you have to be there all day or whether after work is a good time to meet up with people, or like from noon on? What are the hours of the fair? Does anyone know?
A lot of them are, they have like a time in the evening that you need to be there by.
Okay.
Well, I'll do some checking on that.
Okay, great. Because I can definitely handle the Johnson County Fair, but I would love to have additional people. Most of the things I'm like, I got a doctor's appointment in the morning one day. I got to get my eyes checked, but I'm trying to make those in the morning so that I'm free afternoon and evening to be out at the fair. I probably could manage the Wyandotte County Fair depending on when it is. I mean, that's not far for me. So we're going to look at that. Hazel and George, are you doing anything with county fairs that would interfere with your ability to do that? Like if you're already obligated to something else at a county fair, obviously you can't.
I'm not obligated to any county fairs. So
I've never been to a county fair. So I don't even know when it is. So.
There you go. Excellent. Well, we're going to hang and it's going to be fun. So
where is it? When is it? Like, I've literally never been to a county fair before. I'm a city girl. Like, I don't do. When is it?
Not a 4-H kind of person. All right. So it's like July 31st through August 4th, and it probably covers the weekend as well. I have to look at those dates again, but it's that last day of July into the first week of August. And I mean, sure, there's the rides and the midway games and the 4-H with their livestock stuff, but it's also lots of different people have booths set up either to sell stuff or to talk about ideas. So it's really kind of fun. I like it. I don't ever go out and do all the fair stuff. I do eat fair food because they have food trucks usually right behind the sidewalk where all the people are. So we'll eat. That's a thing. And if people are like, I wouldn't have any idea what to say if I were standing there, we have some great materials already set up. Like our little, how did your Johnson County representative vote on various bills? What bills did they sponsor? We have that in a little spiral flip book thing that people can look at for themselves. We've got this wonderful little postcard that was actually, I don't know if you know Kieran McCarty from Hazel, do you? He's really active in the LGBTQ, but specifically trans group at Fort Hays State University there. And he came up with, he just hand drew this little card about, you want to be an ally, how can you help? And so then we had one of our friends, Jennifer, literally design it and printed them out. So that's something we have to hand out. We have an FAQ about countering the misinformation that Value Them Both people are still trying to put out there. We have information about for abortion resources. So that can just be laying on the table. Nobody has to even say anything about it, or you can. So we got lots of great materials that you can familiarize yourself with and just be available just to either answer a question or point to a piece of literature. I know you do not have trouble talking, either one of you. You're both good talkers. So that's a thought. And obviously I'm not pinning you to anything. I'm just saying that would be a fun thing to do. Besides a monthly town hall, an annual 802 United Fair, hopefully at all 4 congressional districts. So far, we got 2 out of 4. It's a start. Is there anything else anyone thinks we should be doing for our advocacy and education work?
I'll say when we did talk about voting, or we didn't talk about voting. Registering, sorry, like
Yes.
registering to vote.
Yes, so we're going to have our poster with the QR code, check your voter registration. We're going to have it at the fair as well. And at any event that we go to, I could offer that to any event we go to as a guest. I could say, hey, I got an easel, you want to put this up? You know, I would talk to the organizers in advance. I wouldn't just spring this on.
Yeah. I would just say, what year is 2023? No, just voter. I mean, I'm sure there's groups doing voter registration. That just be like, I didn't hear it. That what you just said. Is there any other topics that just be like on the list of?
Yep.
Maybe pull from at some point.
Yeah, that's definitely part of our materials we'll have at the booth.
Maybe we need to go through the laws and do a FAQ about whatever laws they changed with voting. And I didn't follow that probably as closely as I should, but maybe we need to have something like that.
Like one thought would be the laws that passed and then got vetoed by the governor. I think that would be interesting to people. Because SB 180 unfortunately overrode the veto. But so far, most of the rest of the stuff didn't get passed, didn't get the 2/3 majority they needed. But you know, the next thing they're going to do is try to put in an amendment that they can override the veto with a simple majority. There's lots of states doing that right now. And they're doing that in advance of people who want to bring forward a ballot initiative. So the people that would be against that ballot initiative are trying to say, no, we want to make it so you have to have a supermajority to have your ballot initiative. But when we put together something, we want to have a simple majority to override the governor's veto. It's like this, two-faced thing. So yeah,
How
we
much
can
for checks and balances?
Yes, so much for our, the way it's supposed to work, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch. That's democracy, people. All right. Any other topics for right now?
Jackie, I would, with all this political stuff going on, all the issues that we talk about, there's all these groups out there and they all do their thing. And then there's so many little small events, and it'd be better to get some of them combined so you get larger turnout. So I would try to hook in with some of these other groups to increase the numbers and the publicity and all that.
Definitely is on our radar. So Alice Edwards.
You asked about that.
Yeah, I did. Alice Edwards came up to me and said, hey, you got to meet this guy who's a Roland Park City Council guy. And he's also very involved with SURJ with Surge. And so he and I have already exchanged emails. And then she's supposed to be coming up with some additional contact information for me for other groups, because we would love to be cross-posting everybody's events. And in return, we'd love for people to cross-post us. But yeah, combining the events so that more people will come to any one event.
Hey, do you know who was, when we had the vote no push, there was an organization, I don't know if I have it written down, that came in from out of state and funded a lot of it, the vote no. I don't remember.
Probably Planned Parenthood.
It had a different name.
Okay.
I might have it because I keep some of my door knocking stuff, but it had a name, and it was, it was a large, well-funded organization.
So we might want to go on their coattails. I loved the Vote Nay group that were the horse people. They were awesome.
That's clever. Yeah, and then whoever else, there is a women's march group here, which they haven't done any marching in a long time, but they're there.
And I feel like we need to connect more with the Moms Demand people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yes, when you get to guns, and we get to the moms and the grandmas, the grandparents, and there's two grandparents groups. One is like grandparents to be more safe, and then grandparents against gun violence.
Right, and it was the grandparents against gun violence that came out to Meadowbrook Park in the orange shirts on the Wear Orange Day.
It turned out that they were like grandparents for being more safe with guns. So they were real tame.
They were it is grandparents for gun safety, and you'll get tired of this, but I'm connected to them as well. I spoke at one of their events. I spoke at their event in May. They do a monthly event, and I spoke there. So, like I said, you'll get tired of me saying this, but I'm pretty sure I know the Roland Park person you were talking
about. There's a reason.
So,
you were the first person Miles and I ran into at the Juneteenth event, because we were meant to connect.
But yeah, and I mean, I know some of the people from Moms Demand Action. Like, again, you'll get sick and tired of me saying that, but yeah. So Judy Sherry, actually, I sent her an email just yesterday. She's with she created the safety one, Grandparents Forgot, GGS. She was calling GGS.
Yeah. I got the impression they were more tame. Like, they, instead of saying ban assault weapons, they were saying lock up your assault weapons. I don't know if they were toning it down at Meadowbrook.
They have all the gun sense people together have this wonderful like five plank program for gun safety in the home.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say get rid of your guns. It says here's how to keep them out of children's hands.
Right.
And
but that's just part of the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important.
That's step one.
Yeah.
It's a place
so anyway, but yes, there's multiple. Yeah, those are big groups that on that issue, and then the Democratic Party groups, they're on the right side of all the issues. So hooking in with them to the extent that works.
Yeah, I have to think hard about that, because to keep our nonprofit status, we have to be careful about not endorsing a party, not endorsing a candidate.
Yeah, but you could reach out to them. Some of those people, our Senate 7 leader is in she's also the vice president of League of Women Voters. So-
Yes,
so-
and they're nonpartisan.
And
and I
she
love
works,
that.
she works the polls. Yeah, so I mean, you could pick off the people or some of the people or, and of course they're all plugged in, so it wouldn't have to be a party thing.
Sure. And I just keep my eye out for events that are coming up on all of these pages of all of these groups and try to go to them when I can, but I definitely cross-post them.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that when their organization sees the 802 United shared your event, that they'll
Yeah.
go, who's the 802 United? And maybe come look.
Mhm.
It could happen.
Mhm.
There's a lot of national groups that are always looking for people to do stuff here also.
And if there's a way that we become a
Move
connector
on.
between several organizations to make a bigger event, I'm all about it.
Move on.
Yeah,
The name of I get texts from different ones.
I get lots of things from Move On. Yeah.
Stand Up America. Have you ever heard of
Yep.
them?
I get them too.
Yeah. So
Um,
anyway. Yeah, they're doing they're all doing their separate little things and
So it feels like silos and we got to break down
Yes.
the walls.
yes, and you don't get as much attention. And I think bigger groups pick up more press attention. And so anyway.
All right. Well, Hazel
I
and I
need to
haven't had
run.
dinner.
I'm running to another meeting actually, so I
Are
had
you
3
gonna
meetings
eat on the
tonight. This is
way?
No, I'm literally gonna close this down and open up Discord and
Okay.
do that. So
All right, cool.
I had 3 meetings this evening. So
Well, thanks
almost-
for giving us
almost
so
done.
much of your time. I appreciate you.
oh, I'm happy to. It's so nice to meet George. I don't know, did I meet you, George?
Maybe somewhere before.
I
Yeah.
think,
Well, I'm Hazel. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Hazel. I think
you
maybe.
guys weren't at the Saturday event at the same time. I
Oh.
don't think you were at the same,
Mhm.
there at the same time.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm gonna shut it down.
Good to see everybody.
And I will see you, Hazel, at 11 o'clock Saturday, not tomorrow, Saturday. I still have to work a whole nother day. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yes.
All right, guys, thanks
All
for
right. Well,
coming.
wonderful to see everybody. Goodbye.
See
See you
y'all.
all later. Bye. Thank you.